What the hell is that show on Showtime? P something. What's the name of that show?
I don't have
P Valley. That show? Huh? P Valley with I mean, I know that's not Jimmy, but my point is that's the look. I don't know about all that.
Anything for clout. They do anything for clout. Do anything for clout. They do anything for clout.
Welcome to the Dark Times channel. So here we go again, back with another one. And before I get started, make sure you guys go ahead and hit that like button for me. And if you're not new to the channel and you enjoy the content so far on this channel, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me as well. And so let's go ahead and get into it. This isn't going to be a very long video, but definitely something I wanted to chime in on real quick as it pertains to NBA superstar Jimmy Butler.
This guy's out here trying to win a chip. Dame wants to come to Miami. And where is he? Milwaukee. So this is how he's feeling.
Oh my God! I mean, what the hell is that show on Showtime? P something. What's the name of that show?
I don't have
P Valley. That show? Huh? P Valley with I mean, I know that's not Jimmy, but my point is that's the look. I don't know about all that.
And before I go in too deep, I'll say this: Jimmy Butler is by no means or by no stretch of the imagination the most skilled player to ever play in the NBA. But he's somebody that, if you know his story, he's busted his tail to get where he's at. He's somebody that's had to work for everything. Everything that he's got, he's somebody that's had to scratch and claw to get. His story is somewhat similar to Michael Orr.
And like the love of basketball came along.
At home, life wasn't that simple, mostly because at times there wasn't one. By 13, Jimmy was out on his own, bouncing from couch to couch, until the summer before his senior year in high school, when he met a freshman named Jordan Leslie.
Abandoned by his family, having to bounce from house to house, I believe by the time he got to his senior year, he was finally able to get into a stable home and get a stable environment around him. But being homeless at the age of 13, that's something a lot of us couldn't imagine. And the reason as to why he was homeless and the reason why he had to bounce from house to house at the age of 13 is sad. According to Jimmy Butler, Jimmy Butler's own biological mother kicked him out of the house at the age of 13 because she said she didn't like the way that he looked. His own mother kicked him out of the house at the age of 13 because she didn't like the way that he looked. Now, if that's true, and I have no reason to believe why, Jimmy Butler would lie about something like that. If that's true, do you have any idea of the psychological damage of what something like that does to a child? A 13-year-old boy, his own mother, his own biological mother, the woman that gave birth to him, kicking him out of the house because she didn't like the way that he looked. Being on the streets, it's one thing if you're a single mother and you have a son that's acting up and maybe you want to go send him to live with a relative or a friend of the family, somebody that's going to straighten them up and getting them on the straight and narrow. But just to send your own son and kick him out on the streets because you don't like the way he looked, something like that has an everlasting impact, not just on a child, but eventually the man. And one of the results, or at least one of the possible results of that, and one of the lasting results, is what we're witnessing today with Jimmy Butler, which is the need for attention, the endless and everlasting need for attention. No matter how much money Jimmy Butler acquires, no matter how many accolades he receives, in his eyes, he'll never be good enough. On a subconscious level, at least, he'll never be good enough. He'll always be seeking validation. And that's unfortunate because no child, or no man for that matter, should ever have to deal with the consequences and repercussions of their own mother kicking them out on the streets simply because they're unhappy with the way that they look. And it's really sad when you think about it because we often like to turn our attention to young girls and especially young black girls, of how they're treated and how they're misrepresented in the media. And it leads to all kinds of issues like low self-esteem and the need for attention and the need to find it any and everywhere. And it's sad because the same thing happens to young boys and nobody cares or nobody notices. And like I said earlier, I'm not trying to pick on Jimmy Butler, but the conversation is bigger than Jimmy Butler because we see the same thing all throughout black entertainment. A lot of these so-called black entertainers are raised in single-parent homes or no homes at all, and they're acting out in similar ways. doing anything and everything to seek attention. It's never good enough. No matter how much attention they get, it's never going to be good enough. They'll put on a dress. They'll put on a wig. They'll put on a skirt. They'll paint their fingernails. And that's definitely a topic that I don't want to go too heavy on, but y'all get the gist of it. Y'all know where I'm coming from. And I wish and I hope nothing but the best for Jimmy Butler. But in the end, I hope that he knows and I hope that he understands one day that it's okay and it's enough to be a man. It's okay and it's enough to be yourself. To be Jimmy Butler. And a lot of people will probably push back on that sentiment and say, oh, he is being himself. He's being true to himself. If he wants to wear makeup, if he wants to wear a wig, if he wants to wear a dress, that's what he wants to do. He's being himself. And I would say so was Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman was allegedly being himself. And the one thing that Jimmy Butler and Dennis Rodman had in common is that they were both abandoned. Told that they wouldn't amount to anything. Their own mothers gave up on them. They had to seek shelter wherever they could find it. And so with Jimmy Butler, you're basically seeing a milder Dennis Rodman. Didn't have a father to give him validation. Didn't have a father to say, you don't have to be the center of attention. You're enough. The man that you are, the man that your creator made you to be is enough. And so that would be my argument or my pushback on that particular sentiment. But nevertheless, like I said, it is what it is. Hopefully Jimmy Butler can figure out soon, hopefully sooner than later, that he is enough. And either way, Jimmy Butler is going to be all right. This is not a sad story or anything like that, but it is unfortunate because he does have a direct and indirect effect on young boys and young girls alike. And so that part is unfortunate. But let me know how y'all feel about this one in the comment section, and I'll try to be active in there as well. And make sure you guys hit the like button on your way out. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, make sure you go ahead and do that as well. And as usual, peace and chaos.